He walked through the door and caught the train, took a look at the books and started making his case. He said, we got bills we just can't pay, and it's time we made a change. But this might call for some sacrifice, and I'll decide who's gonna pay the price. So I'll cut your pay and take your rights, but who needs teachers anyway? So take out the knife and cut the feet, strip them down the bone and onto their knees. Blade came down and it cut him clean. The blade may have cut just a little too deep, a little too deep. So we made our signs and hit the square, marched and sang until the lawn was bare, and people streamed in from everywhere to make them voices heard. For miles around you can hear the thunder, voices echoed in the rotunda. I don't know what spell he's under, but he couldn't hear a word. So take out the knife and cut the feet, strip them down the bone and let them bleed. The blade sunk in despite their pleas. The blade may have sung just a little too deep, a little too deep. The call came in from Mr. Coke and he fell in line, didn't get the joke, and the truth spilled out with every word he spoke. He left us all in shame, and he searched around a little loophole so we wouldn't need those 14 votes, and he pushed it through and down our throats. Democracy's a little game we play. So take out the knife and cut the feet, strip them down and onto their knees. You gave an inch, so I'll take 10 feet. Blade cut a little deep. It's a switchblade thumb you're underneath, so please excuse me if I overreach. The blade cut in clean, but the blade cut a little deep. So take out the knife and cut the feet, strip them down to the bone and onto their knees. Blade cut in and it cut in clean. The blade may have cut just a little too deep, a little too deep, a little too deep, a little too deep. So it's a shock or my chagrin, I don't recognize the state I'm in. I don't know much, but I know one thing: we didn't elect a king.
Hey, Mark. Awesome. That one gave me chills. That was really good. I mean, it was very specific, getting into a lot of detail, but I liked it. You had a lot of emotion in it. I liked even how you were changing line. Blade come down and cut us clean. Blade sunk in deep despite their pleas. And the ending was fantastic. I just was sucked in instantly and loved it all. Well done.
It was really interesting as you were warming up here, Johnny and I were joking, and I said, Mark can't do angry. He's just got too sweet of a voice. And, you know, about a third of the way through this, I went, Mark can do angry. Yeah, I could really feel the anger in here. It's interesting the way we've gone through the competition today. People have taken completely different approaches to it. And I think all have been pretty effective. Your approach was basically to document everything from beginning to end. Some people have taken just one little piece of it. Some people have taken the overall feel of what's going on downtown. But this documentation is real interesting, especially to put it in such poetic words and bring out that anger. I thought was a really interesting approach to the challenge, and I like the way it came out.
Yeah, I think the melody in the chorus was strong and kind of had a little bit of like a earthy vibe to it, like just a very on the ground sort of like Dave Matthews Band vibe to it, where you could have a lot of instrumentation. But I think tastes are tastes for a reason, and for me, what a song does is, speaks some sort of immortal truth about humanity. That's the best songs to me. And as far as a protest song, I tend away from the specific language. It's tough for me to to get past specific language oh man, well, the Rotunda and Mr. Coke, I know that was the challenge, was to write something inspired by the challenge. So obviously, you can take it more specifically, or you can take it more, generally. For example, some of the other songs are about just money being the root of the evil and whatever. But people who experience it firsthand are going to have a much more impactful this is going to be a lot more impactful than people who don't know the specific event and then hear the protest song in a year when it'll be completely different, So for timelessness' sake, I would have changed the language a little bit, but it's a strong song. You could still change the lyrics at some point if you decide you want to speak to that truth. So.
Well, I mean, I knew my audience was going to be Madison.
Yeah.
And I'm writing it specifically for this thing, and I missed the whole part about the duet last week, so I wanted to make sure I was right on task with this one, and I wanted to tell that story. And as somebody that has two bandmates that are teachers, and having gone up to the Capitol and spent plenty of time there myself during that whole time, I felt like I wanted something that Madison could appreciate, especially the people that felt the way that I did and could come away with something like that. Now, whether or not it's timeless,
I think it documents it then, and someone who goes back who doesn't know about it then has to kind of do a little research.
I mean, you look at Neil Young's, and he talks about 4 Dead in Ohio, and we all still know what that's about.
Right.
It's not as if this was a local story. This is a national and some say international story. So,
sure. Well, I definitely agree with it that you have documented it very successfully. This is everything that happened. So. Did a good job. Man.
Sure enough.
Jimmy quickly hands over the microphone.
Jonathan, did you know that when you get chills, it's actually your body releasing dopamine?
Really?
Yeah. So that's like a really good. So you made him doped up.
Thanks, man.
With the power. I've heard your name for a long time. Never got to hear you play. I really liked. I really, especially on the last chorus, I thought you had so many cool hooks with the way you delivered the lines and everything. I thought the rhythm's really cool. It reminded me of not Blessed Union of Souls, Soul Asylum. Do you guys remember those guys? I thought
absolutely, yeah.
Missed them, but I guess coming from Nashville and only keeping a topical look at the protests. I will say that in the song, whenever you mentioned specific things about it, it sort of took me out of it a little bit. So I guess from that perspective, it did get a little too specific for me. But I guess that's the opinion that I'm supposed to bring the outside perspective. So that's all I'm trying to do. But I thought it was a really cool song overall. I think you performed it really well too.
Yeah, well done.
Nice job.
Thanks, guys.